to Move the Mind Day 16. So we're going to be using the seam of openness this week, and we're going to be starting by looking at the shoulders. You don't need any props today, but we are going to begin lying down. So bringing the soles of the feet to the mat, coming all the way down to the ground. And just taking a bit of a wiggle here, so maybe just moving the pelvis up and down. But you want to get into a position where all of your spine is imprinting onto the mat. So pushing gently down with your feet into the ground, maybe to assist you to do this. Bringing the arms down either side of you. And really focusing on what your back ribs are doing. So that's this part of the body here. So you want all of your back ribs to be on the mat and you want them to stay on the mat. So inhaling, bringing the arms up. Fingertips going up towards the ceiling. And just checking in the back, making sure that your back ribs are on the mat. Now from here, using your breath on the inhale, starting to move the arms up and back, but only so far as your ribs are staying on the mat. So if you're noticing your back arching, ribs coming away from the mat, come back, bringing the arms in closer. So you might get an arch quite soon, that's fine, just come back a bit. You might be able to get your arms all the way up over your head with the back ribs staying on the mat. If so, that's great. But don't worry if you don't get here. I've done this a lot, so I've got quite a lot of rotation in my shoulders. So just noticing that point in which you can maintain the back ribs on the mat. Keep belly into spine. So just working this out, this is going to be different from everybody. And what you do today might be different to what you have next week, what you have next month, what you had yesterday. But just noticing where you're at today, because that's what we're working with today. Inhale, hugging both knees in towards the chest, taking a gentle rock from side to side. Then either rolling onto one side to come up into kneeling, or rocking and rolling up the length of the spine, if you fancy doing that. And finding your way into a kneeling position. Now the reason why we did that is to check out where our arms need to be when we're in our lunges, when we're in our high lunges, or anytime the arms are coming up over the head. So bringing your arms to that point where you had your ribs still on the mat. Taking note here, so for me I can come up, but it means I'm keeping my front ribs in and my back ribs are still stable. So all of this around the shoulder is staying stable. If you were here, this is where you are today, this is where you're going to be coming up to in your lunges. Inhale, bringing hands back down, finding your way into tabletop. Just taking some mobilization here. Inhale, dropping the belly, peeling the chest through, finding your cow. Exhale, arching the spine, finding cat. Inhale, peeling the chest through, finding your cow. Exhale, coming into cat. Inhale to find a neutral spine. Exhale, bending the elbows as the chin and the chest comes to the mat. Inhale, coming through, finding your cobra. Exhale, coming back into child's pose. Maybe taking a roll of the forehead from side to side. Noticing if you're holding on to tension in the forehead. Before coming into stillness, but making this quite an active child's pose. So really pushing in through the fingertips, sending the hips back towards the heels, lengthening the side ribs, and bringing the navel to the spine, keeping the core engaged. Inhale, coming back up to find tabletop. Exhale, bending the elbows, keeping them in towards the rib cage as the chin and the chest comes to the ground, tailbone lifts. Inhale, coming through, finding your cobra. Exhale, pushing back, coming back into that child's pose. Knees coming wider apart, allowing the torso to come in between the knees. And really pushing into the hands, maybe even coming up onto the fingertips here, finding that extension in the arms, triceps wrapping under, and broadening through the upper back, so making the upper back feel wide. Really sending the hips down towards the heels, finding that length through the side body. Inhale, coming back into tabletop, and then lowering all the way down to be lying onto the mat. Stretching the arms up above the head, bringing the forehead down. Hands, arms, legs and feet are going to stay on the mat here. But pushing the hips down, inhale, lifting the belly towards the spine. So pelvis is heavy, pelvis is down, and the navel is in towards the spine. Then really pressing in with the hands onto the floor. How far away can you stretch your feet? Making one long line of energy from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. Inhale. Exhale to release, bringing elbows underneath the shoulders, finding Sphinx. Your hands are in the number 11 and your hands are pressing down into the ground. Using the grip of the hands, inhale, peel the chest through the arms, lowering the shoulders away from the ears, gaze is forward. Exhale, releasing, sending the arms along on the mat, forehead to ground. Once again, pushing the pelvis down, inhaling the navel in towards the spine, really pressing the hands into the ground. How far away can you stretch your feet? How long can you become in your body? How long can you come in your spine? Inhale. Exhale, release, bringing elbows underneath the shoulders. Coming back into that Sphinx, arms are parallel. Shoulders down away from the ears. Inhale, can you pull your sternum through? That bone in the middle of your chest. Pulling the sternum through. Inhale. Exhale to release, bringing hands either side of the ribs, pushing back, finding your way into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. First one of the practice, maybe your first one of the day. So if you do want to pedal through the feet here, finding any sort of intuitive movement that you might need in your body today. Before finding your way into stillness. Now you might keep a bend in the knees here, the heels might be away from the mat. Might be early in the day. We're always much stiffer earlier in the day. But really finding your stable foundations here. So rooting through the hands, pressing down with each and every finger. The main part of the palm is pushing into the ground, so you're almost pushing the floor away from you. Your arms are strong from this stable foundation. Elbows, the eyes of the elbows turning inwards, wrapping the triceps under. Shoulders are away from the ears. Finding that length in the spine as you tilt the tailbone up towards the sky. We're going to be working into the diagonal of the body. So, taking a deep bend in the right knee, left leg is straight, maybe heel comes to the floor, maybe it doesn't. And really grounding in through that right hand. Then you can either stay here, maybe coming onto the fingertips of that left hand, so really stretching the sides of the body, that diagonal cross. Or, if you do want to challenge your balance, maybe the right leg lifts, maybe the left hand lifts, finding that core engagement, navel to the spine. Really pressing into that left foot, that right hand, inhale. Exhale, replacing hand, replacing foot, coming back to that downward facing dog. Finding the stability, finding the pause. And then taking the other side, so deep bend in the left knee this time. Right leg comes straight, really pressing into that left hand, maybe coming on to the fingertips of the right. Really noticing that connection between the left hand and the right foot. Finding that strength in the diagonal plane of the body. If you do want to test your balance here, maybe lifting left leg up, maybe right fingertips come away from the mat. This side might be quite different to the other for you. Staying with the breath, using your breath to help you find your balance. Inhale. Exhale, replacing right hand and left foot, coming back into that downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Coming back to the breath. If you do want to take a child's pose here, you can come to that child's pose. Really finding your space in this posture. How much more space can you find in between the vertebrae? How high can you bring the tailbone up towards the ceiling? How much length can you find in the back body? If you are in that child's pose, making your way back into downward facing dog. Inhaling, the right leg lifts. Exhale, high onto the ball of the left toes as you bring the right knee to the nose. And then planting right foot in between the palms, lowering left knee down to the mat. Inhale, coming up to find your low lunge. Now if you do normally sink into the hips here, you can, but I would take this one more vertically, laterally, upright. Interlacing the thumbs. Inhale, bringing the arms up, again coming to that point that we discovered earlier, so where you were still imprinting the back ribs onto the mat. So taking that interlace, keeping the core strong and engaged. Now really broadening through the back, so almost doming your upper back, keeping the arms strong, but then lifting your sternum forward, that bone in the middle of your chest, really pulling the heart space through the arms. So broadening through the top of the back and expanding, sending the sternum forward. Inhale. This is much harder than it looks. And exhale. One more inhale here. Exhale to release the arms, planting them down, right foot back to meet left, downward facing dog. Coming back to the breath. And inhaling the left leg lifts. Exhale high onto the ball of the right foot, bringing left knee to nose, planting left foot in between the hands, lowering right knee down. Inhale coming up, finding that low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Interlacing the thumbs, so just hooking the thumbs together. Then coming to that point that we found earlier. Maybe you're up here, maybe you're here, maybe you're almost directly in front of the face, but not compromising the back here. We're all about the shoulders and the back today. Bringing your navel in towards the spine, and then really expanding the top of your back, so almost creating that doming sensation. So finding that space first, then inhale, pulling the sternum through. So it's like there's a string attached to your sternum and someone is pulling it through your arms. Feeling that engagement all across the top of the back. Staying with your breath, staying strong through your arms. Inhale. And exhale to release, coming back, downward facing dog. Inhaling high onto the balls of the feet, rippling forward with the spine to find high plank. Lowering the knees down, the chin and the chest come to the ground. Inhale coming through to cobra. Exhale coming back, child's pose or downward facing dog. If you have come through child's pose, coming back up. Inhaling the right leg lifts. Exhale high onto the ball of the left foot, bringing right knee to the nose, planting right foot up in between the palms. Inhale, sweeping arms up, coming into high lunge. So coming really high on the ball of that back foot, bringing hands to the hips, finding that stable foundation, maybe walking the right toes out slightly to bring a bit more space for your hips. Then bending into that left knee, engaging through the left quadricep. Inhale, bringing hands into prayer. Exhale to push the palms away from you. Inhale, turning the palms up, curling the fingers under, and pulling the arms back in towards the body. Exhale, sending the palms down. Inhale, opening palms, sweeping them up, coming up into the high lunge. Exhale, bringing the prayer back through the heart space. Exhale, sending the palms away. Inhale, turning palms up, bringing the fisting, balling the fists. Bringing the palms in towards the body. Exhale, sending the hands down. Inhale, sweeping arms up towards the ceiling, keeping shoulders away from the hands, ears rather. Then exhale, bringing the prayer down the centre line of the body, working through the different planes of the shoulders here. Exhale, sending the palms away. Inhale, balling the fists, bringing them in towards the body. Exhale, sending the palms down. Inhale, reaching arms up. Exhale, bringing prayer down the centre line of the body. Inhale here. Exhale, planting hands and stepping back into downward facing dog. So really working through the mobility of the shoulders in the different planes of the body, the different ranges of movement that we have in the shoulders. Inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, high onto the ball of the right foot, bringing left knee to the nose, and then stepping left foot up in between the hands. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, bringing hands towards the hips and finding your strong foundation in this pose. So really lifting the right heel away from the mat. Nice deep bend in that left knee and bending into that right knee. So engaging through the right quad here. Inhale, hands come back into prayer. Keeping navel to spine. Exhale, sending the prayer away from you. Inhale, turning the palms skyward, balling through the fists, pulling elbows back in towards the center line. Exhale, sending the fists down. Inhale, palms facing up, all the way up to the sky. Exhale, bringing the prayer through the center line of the body, being really mindful with this movement. Exhale, sending the palms away. Inhale, turning the palms up, balling fists, bringing fists back in towards the body. Exhale to send the palms down. Inhale, sweeping arms up above the head. Exhale, hands through the center line, prayer. Inhale here. Exhale, sending the prayer away, hands away. Inhale, turning palms over, balling through the fists, really pulling the arms back in towards the body. Exhale, sending the palms down like you've got weights attached to them. Inhale, bringing palms up towards the sky. Exhale, bringing prayer back through the center line of the body. Inhale here. Exhale, planting hands and stepping back into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, coming high onto the balls of the feet, deep bend in the knees, look between the palms, and take as many steps as you like to the top of the mat. Hanging the torso over the legs. Then interlacing the hands behind the back, palms together if you can, and then seeing how far you can take the wrists away from the back. Maybe taking a sway here, maybe taking a bend into one knee, bend into the other, just finding a bit more space in the hamstrings. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale to release the hands hanging heavy. And on the next inhale, slowly, vertebra by vertebrae, rolling all the way up to find that Tadasana, that mountain pose. Big toes together, heels slightly apart, rolling the shoulders up and away from the ears, bringing the palms to face the front of the room. Inhale and exhale, finding that stillness, finding that concentration, finding that focus. On the next inhale, stepping right foot way out to the right, taking a wide stance. The left foot is parallel with the back outer edge of the mat. Right toes go towards the back of the mat. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, sinking into that right knee, coming into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. But this time bringing the left palm to the front ribs. And being aware of your front ribs and just pushing the left palm back into the ribs, taking the back hand to the point in between your shoulder blades. And inhale, seeing if you can encourage your torso to grow tall here, but keeping that pressure on the front ribs so you're not dumping into the back, you're not arching through the spine. Almost inhaling, pulling yourself up, finding that strength, finding that length. Keeping nice deep bend in that front knee, you should be able to see the big toes. And keeping that back foot super engaged here, you're pushing through the back outer edge of that back foot. Inhaling, maybe both arms lift here, keeping that integrity in the ribs, that length in the spine. Making sure you're one long line of energy between the right fingertips all the way to the left. Shoulders peeled down away from the ears. Inhale. Exhale, straightening through the front leg. Inhale, stepping to the top of the mat. Exhale here, Tadasana. Inhale, taking a big step with the left leg. Coming to the same thing on the other side, Virabhadrasana 2. So the left toes are pointing out towards the back of the mat. Right toes are parallel with the back outer, with the front edge of the mat. And once again, bringing the right hand to the ribs, left hand comes to the middle of the back. Inhale, sinking into that front knee, finding your Warrior 2 legs. But pushing the hand on the front ribs into the front ribs. Inhale, finding that length in the back, encouraging the hand up the back so you really get that sensation of the ribs lifting here. Not flaring, lifting. So keeping that pressure on the front ribs to prevent them from flaring out. Inhale and exhale. Maybe stay here, keeping the support on the rib cage, or maybe inhaling, bringing the arms out into your Warrior 2. Gaze over those left fingertips, keeping shoulders up and away from the ears. Belly strong, legs strong, feet strong. I mean, everything is very strong in this pose. Inhale and exhale. Inhale to straighten through the legs. Exhale here. Inhale, coming back to stand at the top of the mat. Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, reset. Exhale, refocus. Inhale, taking a big step out with the right leg, coming into the same position with the feet, so right toes pointing to the back of the mat, left toes are parallel with the back outer edge of the mat, and you want that same stability and structure in the legs that we just built in our warrior two. We're coming into our extended side angle, but keeping the right palm onto the ribs. Inhale to prepare, lengthen, keeping that pressure on the ribs. Exhale, bringing the right elbow to the middle of the right thigh. And we're keeping our hand on the ribs here to encourage that opening up towards the ceiling. Left hand can stay on the left hip, or you can inhale that left arm up directly to the ceiling, or maybe bringing it palm facing down above the head. Really anchoring in with the back outer edge of that back foot and encouraging the rib cage to open, finding that momentum, pressure of the traction of the elbow on the right thigh to help you open through the chest. Inhale and exhale. One more inhale here and exhale. Inhale, pulling yourself back up into center. Exhale, stepping all the way back, Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, breathe. Exhale, release. Inhale, stepping that left leg all the way to the back of the mat, pivoting the feet so that the left toes this time pointing to the back of the mat. Right foot is parallel with the front of the mat. Inhaling the left hand to the front ribs this time, sinking into that left knee, finding that strong stable foundation first. You're already pushing in with the back outer edge of the right foot. Then inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bringing the left elbow to the middle of the left thigh. Now you shouldn't be collapsing down here, so just gently, you're supporting yourself with your core. Pushing the left hand into the left ribs to really feel them turning up towards the ceiling. Keep that bend in that left foot. Maybe right hand comes to the hip, opening the shoulder. Maybe it comes up towards the ceiling. Maybe it comes up over the head. But don't compromise here. As soon as you feel yourself rolling that right shoulder in, come back, maybe come back to the hip, and it's as if someone's hand is pulling your shoulder open here. We're opening the chest. Inhale and exhale, keeping that bend in the left knee. Rolling that right hip back, almost like you're tucking the glutes under. Inhale, navel to spine, and exhale. Next inhale brings you up to center. Exhale, finding that Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, arms lift, gaze follows thumbs. Exhale to hinge and fold over the legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, planting hands, stepping feet back, and lowering all the way down to the mat. Coming into our open wing. So bringing the right hand, so it's at a 90-degree angle, tenting through the fingertips of the left foot, left fingers rather, and then pushing your body, so you're almost rolling over onto that right shoulder. You can tuck the knees up, which would be stage number one, which I'd probably recommend starting with. But if you do have more space, you can extend the legs and bring that left toe over the body. Opening up all into the front of the shoulder. Inhale. Exhale, rolling back down. Coming into centre, taking the same on the opposite side. So bending that left elbow 90 degrees. Left cheek to the mat, right fingertips onto the mat. And sending the legs up and over. Maybe you come into knees in towards the chest.
Maybe you extend the left leg, bringing the right foot over the top. You can also bring the right foot to a block, but if you need to come to a block, probably come back to that knees in position. Inhale and exhale. This is just one of the greatest poses if you spend a lot of time at desk. Inhale, coming back into center. And then any way you like, rolling over, coming into our Shavasana, our last pose. So maybe hugging knees into chest first if you want to take a few gentle rocks on the lower back. But then, whichever version of Shavasana works for you, knees up, Supta Baddha Konasana, or full-on Shavasana. Bringing palms up to face the ceiling, rolling the shoulder blades underneath the body. They've had a lot of attention today. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more like this, in through the nose, let, out through the mouth, go. Now please take as long as you wish, as long as you need in this posture. Making sure you're taking a moment to thank yourself for showing up today, to thank your body for being able to practice today, and seeing if you're able to sit with that gratitude and send it out into the universe, take it with you for the rest of your day. I will leave you here. Thank you so much for your energy, for your practice today, and I will see you on the mat another day. Namaste.